Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It is Thursday, which means two things. Looking back on the week that was and then looking ahead to this Saturday's fixture, which will be a 1 p.m. kickoff at the Mems Priestfield Stadium as we host now Tommy Widrington's Bristol Rovers. Bristol Rovers onto their third manager of the season, but we'll get onto them in a little bit. We also have the views of Charlie Hayne, a Bristol Rovers fan. But first, got to talk about the Peterborough defeat on Tuesday night briefly. The very definition of the game of two halves was how I described it on the Match Day Live and also on social media. Gills were absolutely superb for 45 minutes. We pressed high. We stopped Peterborough from playing. We stopped them getting out. We didn't allow their creative influences to have an influence, the likes of Sammy Samodic and Mo Issa and Johnson Clark Harris. Second half was completely different and we barely got a kick, unfortunately, and Posh ran out comfortable 3-1 winners. Jack Bonham has a nightmare for the first, unfortunately, we know that. Second goal has a big deflection and then we're chasing the game. And then Clark Harris scores a really cheeky third with a back heel on the volley. Top class at this level, that player. As was Dembele, who come on at half-time and changed the game. But for me, like I said at the time, it's not one of them that I'm going to get too downbeat about. Saw some comments from our fans, basically just slagging off our players and calling us all names under the sun. No need for it at all, in my opinion, each to their own though. But it certainly won't define our season and define where we finish. But back-to-back home defeats, that means. But yeah, against the two best sides in the division for me. Anyway, like I say, that is enough about Tuesday evening. Saturday will bring this team to Kent. The Gas arrive on the back of a horrendous run that was only halted on Tuesday night with a very creditable 3-1 win over Portsmouth, chasing the playoffs. So maybe signs that they turned a corner under their caretaker boss, but it's been a disaster of a season from the Bristol outfit, hasn't it, unfortunately. They signed two of our players in the summer, Brandon Hanlon and Max Amar. Mixed reviews on both, but I'll let Charlie talk about them in more detail in a second. Yeah, I had them a lot higher in my season preview. The only issue I had at the start of the season was Ben Garner. But I still had them to finish 10th based on what they'd bought in the summer. But it hasn't worked for one reason or another. So I will leave you now in the capable hands of Charlie, who runs the Rovers Vlogs YouTube channel. And you can find him on Twitter at Hayne_Charlie. And here are his thoughts now.
Good on, Matt. Cheers for having me on the channel. Charlie here from One Rovers Vlogs. Going to be doing a little preview for the game. Obviously playing you this weekend, early kickoff. Obviously, hopefully Rovers can start picking it up after our first win in 11 games on Tuesday night. A really good 3-1 win against Portsmouth. Definitely one of our best performances of the season. Jonah Ayunga and Leahy getting the goals. But yeah, overall it's been an awful season, to be honest, for all of the Rovers fans. Obviously started off with Garner, who obviously took over from last year. Started really good, to be honest. A draw away at Sunderland, and then after that, everything fell downhill. And then we went on to Tisdale. He was only in for 19 games, then he got sacked just over a week ago now. So yeah, looking for our third manager of the season, which is never good. It's been awful, to be honest. A lot of poor, recruitment. Obviously getting the managers in, poor from the board. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game for sure. I'm hoping we can bounce back. Obviously after our good win against Portsmouth, obviously Gillingham are quite a decent side. They're pretty inconsistent. Obviously got a good manager, a lot of good players to watch out for, the likes of Ollie Lee, Dempsey and Akindi and Oliver up front. Also Connor Ogilvie, who obviously scored that worldie at Charlton, and it's always a hard place to go. Our record there has been really bad in the last sort of 10 years or so. I remember going there a couple of years ago when we beat you 1-0 when Clark Harris scored. But apart from that, our record is really bad there. But, I'm hoping it's going to be different to obviously the last time we played you, when we lost 2-0 at home to you at the Mem, with I think Villadane Oliver scoring 2 goals. I remember Ema, obviously, who we signed from you in the summer. He had an awful game against you and made the mistake for the first goal, and overall, talking about the two new players we signed this season from Gillingham, obviously Brandon Hanlon and Ema. Obviously, Ema was at you for about 5 years overall. Obviously, captain, was brought into Rovers to be captain as well, and just hasn't lived up to it. Been one of our most poor players this season. Just been very slow. Not really commanding either, and making quite a lot of mistakes. Whereas Hanlon, he's had a pretty decent season overall. Obviously, our recruitment was poor in the summer just to rely on him for our striker, because even the Rovers fans knew, he wasn't going to do that well, because he's never been a natural number 9 up front on his own. But he's done okay. Obviously, he's been pretty unlucky, and some of his touches have been poor. Like the last 11 games, he hasn't scored in 11 games since our other home win against Blackpool when we won 2-1. He scored then, but 11 games without a goal. I'm really hoping he can get back on track soon, because he puts in the effort. The effort's always there, but sometimes with his touches he's a bit unlucky or a bit of a poor touch. But hopefully he can maybe get back to scoring ways this weekend against you guys, and obviously hopefully some of our other players can also step up like they did on Tuesday. Obviously, I think it's a game that we could win, but for me, I'd probably take a point. Obviously, we're sitting 18th in the league. Obviously, first win in 11 on Tuesday against Portsmouth. Currently 2 points outside the relegation zone, so it's really tight down there. Like I said, it's been a shocking season, to be honest. But hopefully things can get better. Obviously, a really good win the other night, and hopefully we can get back on track with another win, or maybe get a point. I think a point's more fair. I think we struggled against you last time. Obviously, you're a very physical team with two good strikers up front that can hold the ball up and turn in behind. So, yeah, hopefully it's going to be a really good game. Obviously, players for Rovers to look out for, like I said, Brandon Hanlon. He's done really well for us this season. 9 goal contributions, 8 goals and 1 assist. Also, a left back Luke Leahy, very attacking fullback, likes to get forward. Not the best at defending, but he's pretty good going forward. And he's got 10 goal contributions in all competitions, 6 goals and 4 assists. 4 of the goals have been penalties, but 2 of the goals have been absolute worldies, so I wouldn't mind another of them this weekend. And obviously Sam Nicholson as well, our Scottish, meant to be a winger, but we've been playing him up front and behind the striker this season, done really well. Again, 10 goal contributions, 7 goals and 3 assists. But my prediction for the game, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'm going to go for Ayunga to get another goal to carry on from his 2 he got against Portsmouth, and I'm going to go for a Kindy to score for you guys. Best of luck for the game, and appreciate you having me on the channel, mate.
Some interesting bits in there, mate. Thanks for your input. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to record and send that over to me. It is much appreciated. Club in crisis. Would that be a fair assumption? Like Charlie mentions, Ben Garner's come and gone. Paul Tisdale's come and gone. It's now down to Tommy Widrington as caretaker manager. Oversaw a really good win in the week. Remains to be seen whether he's going to get the job full time. I think Joey Barton is favourite. So it might be that someone new is in the dugout come Saturday 1 PM, but we'll have to keep an eye on Twitter, etc. and the really well-renowned Gascast as well, and obviously Charlie's social media feed. As I've already mentioned, a couple of players that they've got from us. Brandon Hanlon seems to be doing all right, but he's without a goal in 11. Max Amar is a doubt with a shoulder problem. We know he had a history of shoulder issues when he was at the Kent club, and he missed the win in the week. So it'd be interesting whether he gets back in, even if he is fit after such a good result. Got other good players, haven't they? Luke Leahy's got 10 goal contributions. I think Charlie mentioned at left back, I think was at Walsall previously, a good player. Sam Nicholson was decent against us in the return fixture, just couldn't hit a cow's arse with a cricket bat, luckily for us, before we took the lead. But yeah, Max Amar's the surprising one for me. Error-strewn, inconsistent, poor, lacks leadership, at fault for plenty of goals. That's not the Max Amar that we saw last season. But whether he plays, like I say, remains to be seen, and it's not our issue anymore. He decided to move on, and we wish him all the best. Right, comparative form. Last 6, Gills, drawn 1, drawn, lost 1, lost. So 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats, 8 points from 18 available. The Gas in that same period, 1 single win, which was Tuesday against Pompey. 3 defeats, 2 draws, gives them 5 points from the last half dozen. Home and away, it's not great reading for either sides. Like I say, Gills have had back-to-back home defeats. Before that, it was a win and a draw and another back-to-back reverses. So only 4 points from 18 at Priestfield over the last 6. Gas on the road have been equally horrendous. 2 draws, 4 defeats, gives them 2 points from the last half dozen. We've lost to Lincoln and Peterborough in our last 2 in Kent, and that's conceding 6 goals and only scoring once. But there were periods in both games where I thought we were really good, and I think if you looked at the 2 matches and saw an aggregate of 6-1, it probably looks harsh on us, but that's the nature of the beast, and both Lincoln and Peterborough are very clinical. I mentioned on Gabe Sutton's EFL fan show the other night, or on Twitter, I think it was, Gabe might have mentioned it on the show, that Lincoln are probably the most rounded side that I've seen, the most complete this season. Peterborough, their ceiling's so high, it's ridiculous with the amount of attacking talent they've got. They'll give you chances, I think, but going the other way, they're an absolute joke at times. And when they get moving, they're pretty much unplayable, as we found out on Tuesday night. Bristol Rovers conceded 13 in their last 6 on the road, and they've only scored 3 in that time, 4 blanks as well. So doesn't make pretty reading for either side at the moment. To our team news. No Dominic Samuel still, we know that, but apart from that, it looks like everyone else is available. Although there's not been a press conference today, Thursday, so far. That's probably because we're a day late after the midweek fixture. For me, I'd make a couple of changes this week just to freshen it up. Jordan Graham has to start for me, such as the ability of the lad, but then obviously that means we probably go away from the diamond, but it gives us a couple of options. I've toyed with a couple of things. For me, I'd go Jack Bonham in goal. Made a mistake, it happens, goalkeepers get punished. Back 4, I'd go Ryan Jackson, Jack Tucker, Robbie Cundy and Connor Ogilvie again. I'm toying between a 4-4-2 diamond and a 4-2-3-1. So I would start Carl Dempsey, Callum Slattery, then Jordan Graham, Ollie Lee and John Akindi. The only one I'm not sure is Alex McDonald or Tyreek Johnson, and that's probably harsh on Tommy O'Connor, who was decent first half on Tuesday, but I think we're at home against a side that are more in our league in terms of ability, etc. And so it's a toss-up between Tyreek Johnson or Alex McDonald from the left for me. I'm leaning towards McDonald because it then means we could go to the diamond and play Jordan Graham as a centre-forward alongside John Akindi, and then have Slattery at the base, Lee at the point, and then Dempsey and McDonald from the sides of the diamond. So that would be my team. We can then alternate between systems. So my bench would be Sacha Bastien, Robbie McKenzie, Stuart O'Keefe, Tommy O'Connor, James Morton, Tyreek Johnson, Verdane Oliver. Probably harsh on Verdane, who does a lot of unseen work off the ball. But it's 1 goal in 11 at the end of the day. So he's just gone off the boil in terms of scoring. John Akindi in the same period's got 4 and run himself into some form. There's a couple of assists in there as well. So that's my reasoning behind just giving Verdane Oliver a breather at the moment. Freshen him up, and then obviously we've got Tuesday a game again as well, so it might be that we have to rest and rotate a little bit with the games coming thick and fast over the next month. In terms of a score prediction, Charlie said 1-0 with John Akindi scoring our goal and Ayunga scoring for Bristol Rovers after his salvo in the week. I'm going to be more optimistic from a Gills point of view. I'm going to say a final score, Gillingham 3, Bristol Rovers 1. I think if both teams play to their capabilities at the moment, then we beat them. Goal scorers, I'll let Brandon Hanlon get his goal at Priestfield, and I'll go John Akindi, Jordan Graham and the skipper Carl Dempsey to score for us. Right, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please keep liking, subscribing, retweeting and subscribing to the channel. We are close to that 1,500 mark, as I keep mentioning. We'll be back Saturday for the early kickoff for a match day live. Thanks again to Charlie for coming on. Until next time, up the Gills.